And Lauren's like, okay, trigger warning, whatever. And then she played it, and we were like, oh, my
literally cried my eyes out.
I know. I was like, I don't know if I could show this.
Get ready. It's time. Christina, Catherine, Lisa, Amy, and Lauren. Welcome to the Cimorelli podcast.
Hey, I'm Christina.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Amy.
I'm Lauren. And we're Cimorelli.
Welcome back to
The Cimorelli podcast.
Hey, guys.
And our couch is so squeaky. I don't know if you can hear it, but it won't stop squeaking. So
I feel like
I'm not
I just
even
need
moving.
to tighten them.
I'm moving.
I know, but I'm saying I would feel like I wasn't even moving and it was squeaking.
Yeah, it squeaks.
It squeaks a lot.
Yikes.
Anyway, welcome back.
Hey guys, this is episode 234. We are here today to give you an update on our album process, because in case you're wondering, we are working on an album, all the new music we're working on, and how all that is going, and all the things that we've learned, because we have learned so many things recently, and it's been quite the process, and it's been very fun, but also very challenging, because we're trying to do a lot of different things. Anyway, so yes, that is what today is about, and I would like to say that I was watching last week's podcast, and these ratatouilles were like, oh, Amy can't come, she's taking a nap. I'm sorry.
What?
A nap?
That's what we said. We said Amy's not here. She's taking a nap.
Yes!
Because she was taking a
Because
nap.
I was kind
We
of
never
sick.
said she was sick.
No one said she was sick.
It was so funny, and I was watching it. I was like,
I can't believe we didn't clarify that.
yeah, Cat's like, she's burned out. I was like,
Yeah, I said she's taking a nap.
Cat,
And
you're
then
right.
I thought one of you was going to say she's sick, and I was like, okay, we'll
It's
move on.
fine. It was just funny.
I actually don't know that I knew you were sick before
Because
that.
I wasn't that sick.
she
I was
thought
like,
you were
I think I got there
burning.
and you guys were like, oh, Amy's sleeping. And then they laughed and I was like, oh, okay, she must be just having a rough day or something.
I was at the beginning of this misadventure, this misfortune. So yeah, I was not napping because A, I can't nap, but B, I was sick, and C, I wouldn't really miss a chance to
Wow,
nap.
I'm sorry we threw you under the bus.
It's okay.
It's not cool.
It's okay. Productivity is not our number one value in life.
Yeah, well, we just don't want to sound like you're just blowing it off for a nap. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
I
you
would
weren't,
never.
You weren't doing that, and you wouldn't do that. And none of us would do that.
Because I can't nap. That's
Well,
really
yeah.
Okay, so we spent like 5 or 6 or 7 weeks, I don't know, it got longer, writing, and that's what we're going to talk about. We just only did writing, and we abandoned everything else. Well, we took care of our responsibilities, and then we abandoned everything else for writing. So that's what we're going to talk about. All right, so let's do our highs and lows of the week. What was your high and low of the week?
Well, I feel like mine's pretty upfront. I was sick, and I still am a little bit. But it's weird. It's like a chest cold or something where you just basically cough a lot. But I can't just cough. I have to hack because childhood asthma. I don't really know. It's times like these where I'm like, should I look into getting an inhaler?
Perhaps you should
Maybe.
look into it.
Perhaps. Because I am out here coughing until I vamoose. It's rough. And so I can't just get a cough, which luckily I don't get coughs that often.
So get one that you just use. I don't know how long the
Yeah, I
Stay
don't know if
lasting
they
it. Ask Betsy,
yeah,
she'll
I'm gonna
know.
talk to Betsy
Well,
about it.
didn't you used to have one too?
When I was
had
when we were
long
kids,
time.
It
yeah.
lasts throughout the day.
No, I mean
Like-
if she barely used it, how long until it
Yeah, I get a cough
expires?
that's maybe once a year.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I get what you're saying.
But
So
yeah.
will she be able to use it once to pay for that? I don't know.
Yeah, so it was annoying because I was basically well-ish, but I was hacking up my lungs, so it was not well, but I was fine. So
Yeah,
I
you
was
should at least look into it.
yeah, so I was this is so annoying because I want to be doing things, and yet I'm chained to the rhythm, aka the couch. I haven't
my gosh.
done anything besides work stuff for the last week, and so I'm I'm running out of TV shows. I'm running out of, a lot of things. Actually, no, I'm not running out of things. So I just restarted Psych. But anyway,
Okay.
my high is that I woke up and my cough is way, 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 way better. So we're getting somewhere. And that's the tea.
Yeah, Amy, remember, we both had child asthma, but when Amy used to cough at swim team, people would yell like SARS.
One person yelled SARS at me, which was the COVID of
That
the
was
day.
like that was the epidemic at the time.
It was, and it was so weird.
Yeah.
But it was so like I don't even remember that happening. I just remember being told that happened because you can't really hear when you're swimming and hacking. But it was so funny. Yes, literally, because it was chlorine.
Chlorine is very irritating.
Irritated my asthma, and like
same.
I was probably kind of sick or something. No, I think it was just the chlorine. And I literally was like this tiny thing, like hacking and trying to get across the pool, and SARS. Can you imagine somebody else COVID at you?
I mean, I feel like people do that.
What?
Well, this was different.
It sounds like a kid.
It was different because they weren't like quarantining or anything like that. So if they yelled at you, it was just like, oh, they're sick. People were scared, but they weren't like. It was a big deal. People were scared, but for some reason, no one was like, you need to wear a mask, you need to quarantine, you need to be.
Yeah.
So, like, no one did that, but it was like, people were very scared, but not as scared. So it wasn't as bad for them.
But it was just wild, because who yells that as a child? I don't know. Definitely not me.
Did you do a high or did you not really?
No, my high was that I'm getting better.
Oh, that you're getting better. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my high.
Who's next? No one can think. Okay, I can think of my low. My low, and then I have to think of my high. My low is that I just like crashed because, oh my gosh, last week was like it's like a disturbingly emotional week, if that makes sense. Disturbingly charged, draining, emotional week.
Yes.
That just like wiped me out. So that was my low.
I feel like we lived like 12 lives in one week.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh,
It was
so many things happened last week.
Yeah,
it was
too
so bad.
much. Too many things.
Oh my gosh. So that was, would like to not redo that for a while. And the week before, it was like 2 weeks. It was like the first week was like, like a lot. And the second week was like way too much. So that was a lot for me. And then what was my high? My high is that I've made recognizing how much progress I made this week, like how much reading I've done, how much writing I've done, how much progress I've made since I started my healing journey I'd either say late August or September, more like September, really.
Wow, I feel like you're really progressing really quickly.
I am progressing. I feel like it's going to take several months and then I'm going to see like really, really good results. But in a few months, I feel like I don't see actually that many results now besides like mental results. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm going to see a lot more results in the next few months. So anyway, that's my highest. I was like, wow, I am really making progress. As I was looking at all my books, I was like, wow, progress. So that's my high of the week. Next.
Okay, I'll go, I guess.
Okay.
My low was similar to yours, just like that was a very draining week. And then I had a very busy weekend, so I didn't really get to like rejuvenate that much. So
yeah, you were up and down and all
in
around
this week
the block.
now, like I didn't rejuvenate. So I'm just kind of like low energy, as they say.
As they say.
I don't know who says that.
As they say.
My high was that yesterday I ran half a mile.
Oh,
Girl,
good for you.
I bet it ain't me.
So that was good. Apparently
pretty
not
amazing.
That low energy.
So now how do you track how long you're...
I just look at the health app where it's like, oh, in this hour you did this much distance.
Yeah, because if
I'm
you're
like,
holding your
okay.
On a
phone,
run?
it like
Yeah.
counts your steps.
Oh, you need to get Map My Run.
Oh yeah, there's
Marion
like
told me about this a long time ago for my walks.
Do I have to
Literally,
pay?
no. Map My Run, and you literally just press start. Oh, it's going to check your email. Start workout. And
Yeah.
then,
And that's probably more
and then you
accurate,
go
LOL.
pause, hold to finish
I was
the end.
going more for like time, and I ran for 7 minutes.
wow.
This will tell you
That's
everything.
But then I
good.
was like, how far did I go? Just half a mile.
That's like a lot of minutes, though.
Are you going to do couch to 5K or whatever?
No.
I'm just watching a video. Okay. It looks really good. It looks really
I
good.
just feel like
If I was a runner, I would do
know
or wanted to
myself,
run.
and I've already ran at times in my life, and like I just can push myself.
Yeah, because it's just telling
Adequately.
you walk this much, run this much, walk this much, run this much, and then it like increases it every time.
Yeah, I
Pretty
feel like
straightforward.
I have like my
Your plan.
vibe that works for me that I've done
Oh,
before.
yeah.
To when I ran like 2 miles one time.
I've never.
That's the longest
I've never
I've
done
gone.
that in my life. I think I've done a mile twice. That's my record.
I'm not sure I've done a mile ever. Like,
Yeah.
Maybe you should try
genuinely.
it before. You know, like a bucket list.
No,
That's a
it
good
is on my
bucket
bucket
list,
list actually.
yeah.
Yeah, you should try.
You've ran a mile?
Like twice.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I mean,
made
you
sure.
would know. You would know.
Yes, I did for sure. I was like, I wonder if I can run a mile, and then I tried.
I did not know this information.
Yes,
I
was
think you can do it
17 or something.
if you like picture there's like an animal chasing you or
The
something,
entire
you would
time?
do it.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to like pace yourself? Isn't that the key?
No. I'm just saying if you
A
just
mile
want to
isn't
see
that
if you
long.
could do it. Like you have to like have like I gotta do this and then just do it.
Yeah.
Because physically you probably can run a mile.
think-
Would it be painful?
yeah.
Yes, but you could do it. Like your legs
I've
aren't gonna
done,
give
like,
out. It just would be very difficult.
Half miles on the treadmill and then walk
Yeah.
half mile and then run another.
So there you go. You could do it.
But-
You could
yeah.
probably do it within like 5 or 4 weeks if you tried.
yeah.
yeah.
If you tried every
It
week, a
just-
couple times a week, you could probably do it.
It's such
Oh,
a
yeah.
mental game of running because it feels so painful, but you're not like, oh, I can't keep going. You can keep going. And it like feels painful, but if you keep going, then you push through the painful
That
part and
sounds
then
like
it
labor
feels
so
better.
much.
So it's
Wow.
like, it's
a
really
mental
mental
game.
game of like, your
Yeah.
body's like, give up. And you say, no.
I love it.
Yeah. So that was good.
Last person?
Last person.
Last
Who could it
person.
Tall person over there?
be? Yeah, I had the same low as them, which is just that. Okay.
You're crashing after.
Yes,
or
I
already
realized
crashed.
this. Like, we all had a really rough week. Some things happened. Multiple things happened. It wasn't just one thing. That we all
And
kind
some
of.
things were good.
Some things
but they were
good.
just like.
It was
like
just, and it was also
overwhelming.
just the country was in a heightened state of emotions. So overall, there was just a lot going on, and it was a very upsetting week. But my bosses, aka my 3 children, didn't give me any time
They
off.
said no.
Yeah, so I tried really hard to rest, and I just wasn't really
They
given
said that's too
that
dang
opportunity.
bad.
Yeah, so I don't know, it's just really hard. And then at night, like I would have like a couple hours before I went to bed, and my husband and I were just like dead. And we had all these like home things, like we have to get this thing approved to like cover our trash cans. So we were looking into that and trying to get the paperwork filled out and all this stuff. So just like random things like that kept coming up that it was like we just didn't do any like resting really. And then last night I just kind of snapped. And I was like, I'm sick of it.
You tell them.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really mad at anyone. I was just mad at the world because I was like, don't get to talk about my feelings. I don't get to rest. And I'm just like, there's so much to do for the house. I don't want to do this.
That's what I was thinking.
I just want to like, which I feel like it's sort of a unplaced anger. It's just sort of like I was just mad.
Well, yeah, you can be mad just at life sometimes.
Yeah, but then this morning I was texting my husband and I was just like, I really need to talk and just get it out because I feel like I have so much built up and like repressing it and bottling it up. I can feel like the effects of it. So yeah, I just feel really not good. So I don't know what's my high. I took the boys to the park yesterday and it was beautiful. Like that's my high.
In the middle of our meeting.
I know.
She
I
texted, she's
know.
like, oh, sorry guys, I forgot about the meeting.
What happened is
we were all like, we're still at the meeting. She's like, I'm at the park.
they planned a meeting when I was picking the boys up, and I was like, okay, I'll jump on after I get them home, get them situated.
Yeah.
Got home, kind of in accordance with everything that's happened in the last week. My hair's on fire, their hair's on fire, the house, just like everything is just like there was so much going on. I was not thinking, and normally with the meetings, they're texting a lot, like, okay, we're gonna jump back on. Okay,
We
we're gonna
were
do
texting.
this. I didn't see any. No, I looked back.
I looked back.
There was like one text that came through that was like,
Like, which
here's
link?
the Zoom or whatever. And I'm like, usually that's happening multiple times. And I'm like, oh, I see it. And I remember to jump on. For some reason that never came through. I was like putting stuff in the crock pot.
Oh my
and then I started driving to the park and I was like, oh my gosh, I never joined the Zoom and no one said anything. And I'm like, do they not need me? Like, what's going on? So I got there and
Yeah,
I was
I
like, guys,
forgot,
I'm so
TBH.
sorry. I forgot. And like, they were like, oh, we're still on. There was like
Well,
all
at the
these
park.
moms next to me at the park. And I was like, I guess I could jump on, but I'm like, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't need these people hearing our personal business. So anyway, it was just a weird, but I mean, it did actually end up being the highlight of my last couple days because it was like really pretty out and it gave me a second to just kind of sit and like breathe. And there was like the sun was setting while we were there. And I was just like, oh, I really needed this. Just like be outside for a second, just like chill. But I still feel like I have a lot to process. So,
So yeah, same. That's what I was doing. Oh, I thought of something. Okay, so speaking of, I was thinking we could share some of the good news we got last week. Speaking of why Lisa's not here, Lisa's not here, as most of you know, because she is supporting her husband through his cancer treatments. And I screenshotted his Instagram story to read. This was the good news that we got last week. He said, "Thanks for all the prayers, love, and support. Yesterday, my scan results came back good. First good report since December. That's almost an entire year ago. Cancer is smaller, no new spots, and some gone.
wow.
So the new treatment, although wrecking me, is moving things in the right direction. Still at war, but such a huge, huge update. They did not expect that. So everyone was just freaking out. It was like such a crazy day.
So much relief.
Yeah, so I just want to share that since I'm glad I saved his story to share it. I was thinking maybe we should post that on our story, be like, hey guys, here's the update from Chad, whatever. Because I know a lot of you guys are praying for him all the time and praying for all of them. Continue to pray for him, pray for their daughter, pray for Lisa, pray for their family. They really, really appreciate it and they really need it. Thank you guys so much. So exciting to finally share a good update in 11 months.
That's
Finally got one. So that's amazing.
God is good.
So we're going to get into all the updates about the writing and the album, everything we've been doing lately, which has been, it's been so different than the last few years. We'll get into that. Before, I'm going to say, if you want to see every full episode, you got to join our Patreon, patreon.com/Cimorelli, linked in the description. It's $5 a month. You get every full episode. You support us. It means so much to us. And we're posting unreleased demos on there. Last week, we posted the demo for Brand New because one of our patrons, I forgot, dang it, I should give her a shout out. I forgot her name. Dang it. I forgot who it was. You know who you are. Has been begging for Brand New, a song that we wrote a long time ago. But Lauren made a new demo for it. And we posted that on Patreon. So you're getting unreleased demos now on Patreon.
love it.
In addition to every full episode of the podcast, all the past episodes, all the past series we've done, like Things We Don't Talk About and a bunch of other stuff. Wacky Wednesdays with Lisa. Oh my gosh. Motivation Monday and Past Monday Q&As. All that. Boom. That's what you get on Patreon. So thank you guys for supporting us. You're the best. All right, let's get into it. So we all look like we're all like,
I know. I'm trying to like not be dead. I'm trying to like look
since
slightly alive.
that comment, whoever of you it was, it's like, they don't like each other. We're all trying to be like, no, we like each other. We're just tired, but you get it.
Listen,
okay.
guys.
You guys
guys
responded
know.
and said you get it.
Excuse
We're
me.
tired
Guys,
gals
it's
over
been
here.
a long week. You have had one too,
Hey
I'm
guys,
sure.
another podcast I was watching, the girls in it were saying people were mad at them for yawning. And I was like, okay, it's not just us.
Yeah, guys, just
I like
Come and
see you
chill
not
with-
yawn ever.
just take a chill with us. We're just some
or see your
gals
listening
chilling
face.
out.
If you ever got a picture, someone took like a candid picture of you with your listening face, that's what we're
Mine
dealing
is
with
very
here.
dramatic
Yeah, mine's like,
when I'm like engaged.
if you just
listening.
relax your face,
Then it's not.
yours isn't relax, you're just like,
Lisa always used to make fun of me because she's like, you're going like this.
What did you call
You're
it?
listening. She's like, you look sad. And I was
Resting
like,
sad face.
so now I'm trying to like just do like
Yeah.
a nice light smile.
just listening. Okay, so let's get into what the heck we did and why we did it. So we were like, we need to do 5. What?
Lauren's been begging for this for a while.
Well,
I'm
okay.
just tired of
my,
making weird faces.
My intuition was telling me to do this for over a year. It might have been 2 years, and I ignored it every time.
But
I
now
kept
that you're on
thinking-
your healing journey, your intuition.
I kept thinking we need to do 30 days of writing, and then I was like, no. And then I literally kept thinking it every week of my life, and I ignored it all the time. I was like, no, we have too many other things to do. We can't do it. And then this year, we were just like, as we do every year, really reevaluating our goals, and we're like, our number one passion is writing. Our number one favorite thing to do is pretty much songwriting, writing, recording, creating. That's our favorite thing, or performing the songs we wrote. That's our favorite things to do right there. So then I was just like, okay, this isn't. I looked at how much we had done this year with what did we release this year?
Don't think about it and waste your time.
2 songs in how many? 8 months?
Yeah.
In July.
7 months?
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? If we continue at that rate, it's going to be like 2 to 3 songs a year, and that's not what we need. We need to be testing out like 20 to 40 songs a year until we find the right song. Like just testing it out with you guys when you'd be like, song, 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 which we're still not quite to the rate I want to be at yet, but I think we'll get there. I think we need to do this thing again in January. Like once we get through December, we need to go back to this again.
I agree.
We need to do this again.
Agree.
When we started writing, me personally, I had not written very much at all in the last few years. Like every now and then I've been writing, but it's just been really difficult as a mother. It's been very difficult to get the time. And then my mindset just kind of went. So then I was like out of the groove. What about you guys? You've been writing a lot.
I always write.
You?
Yeah, I always write.
You?
Yeah, somewhat.
But it's different because I write like poetry and like thoughts, and I can just easily be on a walk and write that on my phone. Whereas when you write, you're writing like a full song usually, right? Like you don't write just lyrics or poetry.
No, I almost never write
Yeah, like
lyrics.
you have to
so
be
that
like in a
makes sense
studio or like
It would be
with
hard,
your
yeah.
equipment to write.
I'm just like, oh, I'm driving. Let me like, or I guess I could do like a voice memo if you had a melody, but
I never got. I stopped getting melodies in my head. I stopped getting song
you probably
ideas.
got them. Your just brain wasn't turned like to
it was like
you know?
I was so tuned out. I stopped getting ideas, and I stopped before. And this is like the way you live your life. Basically, we would just like get ideas. Oh, I had this idea, and I'd all the time be getting. Oh, this song idea. And I'd record it and I'd have all these ideas and I would just go in and do them. That stopped happening the last few years because I was so busy and stressed and repressing every emotion. That was the biggest part of the problem.
Well, how are you supposed to write about your emotions if you aren't feeling them?
Yeah. And before the writing week, that was when Lauren was saying to me, how come you haven't written about anything that's happened to you the last few years? We were talking about what to write about. We were saying, what are we trying to do here? What are we trying to write? And Lauren's like, hello, ding, 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 your life, all things that have happened. I think I thought, this is a real thing though. I thought, well, people don't write, which is true, not very much, but some people do. People don't really write about motherhood or miscarriages. Now, people actually have written a little more about it, but motherhood, postpartum depression, miscarriages, things that I've experienced the last few years, the motherhood specific ones. I'm like, people don't write about that, so why would I write about that?
How common is it?
And yet, very, very common.
How many millions?
I know. That's when I realized, like, you know what? It doesn't matter if people don't write about it. Like, this is still a real thing. Just because, and it's different now. Just because the music industry was dominated by mostly young female, well, just talking about the women anyway, young artists who would only mostly sing about like 2 topics because they were all like controlled by their label and blah, blah, whatever. Like just because that's how it was, it's not like that anymore.
You'd think that they would write about that in country, but they don't.
Yeah.
Like the men will write about fatherhood.
They don't.
They write about having kids and stuff.
And
but
the women will write about
It's funny
murdering
because
the husband.
They will.
Well, it's funny because like remember, if you haven't seen this, you should look it up. It's such a good video about the song "Closing Time" by Semisonic.
Oh, that's a good one.
And he even says he says something along the lines in the beginning like, I was like about to have my first kid or whatever, and the band's probably just like, oh no, here it comes, gonna write a song about his kid. Like it was almost like this token thing, like, okay, you write a song about becoming a parent, get it out of your system. It was almost like which I don't know if a lot of people have that. I feel like that is kind of true though. A lot of people like they become a parent as an artist and they do like their one token song and that's it.
Like, oh, it's gonna be cheesy, annoying. No one wants to hear about
like,
that.
what are you supposed to write about? Diapers? It's like, no, there's so much more
There's
to it
a lot
than
to
that.
write about.
The emotional climate, the change, the transition, the transformation of becoming a new person. There's so many universal aspects of it that people can relate to, even if they're not a parent, that you go through in different ways as you change. Anyway, I digress.
And there's a lot of other stuff that happened the last few years that was like a lot of like grieving, loss, change, blah, blah, blah. Just a lot of things happened the last few years. So we all kind of talked about that. Like, what do we want to write about? And we were all saying like, we need to write about everything that's been happening to us in the last few years and like really get that out there and like dig deep. So then how did you guys feel at the start of the 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks of writing? How'd you feel at the beginning?
Interestingly, I can picture that time, and like I feel like I was excited. I always love writing, but I almost feel like I had the old mindset that we had that was like, which I don't know that we necessarily had this consciously, but it was sort of like, at least I thought we're only supposed to write about like relationships, like in a romantic sense. It seemed like it was like an unspoken thing, even though we did write other songs. We definitely did.
Yeah.
But it seemed like that was like the main focus. And I was like, oh, if I have another idea, it's not for the band. It's just for me personally. But then when we kind of started writing all these songs that were like about these other life topics, I was really excited, and it like opened my mind like, oh, like this is really cool, and like there's so much openness to like different facets and stuff. I don't know. That was just how I felt. I don't know if anyone else felt that way. But I feel like my mind was just sort of opening. Like there's so many different things you could write a song about. I feel like I thought before that if you wrote a song about something that wasn't a relationship, it was like cheesy or something, like a life song. Or that it's just hard. We kept talking about Switchfoot.
Well, life songs are hard to do.
And how good
Yeah.
Switchfoot is with like those like life songs. But I'm like, how do you do that? They're like,
Yeah.
yesterday is a wrinkle on your forehead. Yesterday is a promise that you've broken. I don't know. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, it was really. We hadn't written like much life stuff at all before.
Yeah.
No, I
I
feel
could
like
think
a
of.
lot of the stuff we did have, like as a band like that, was like Lisa more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything you need is everything you have.
Yeah.
But not that
Headlights.
much. Okay, Headlights. Yeah, but with
We had some
didn't have
Christian.
that many.
The Alive album was a lot of life songs.
Yeah.
So
Okay, what about Amy, Lauren? Where were you at the start of the 5 weeks?
I mean, I was excited. I thought it was going to be way easier than it was.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
Because I was on a page and I assumed everyone was on the same page, and then I realized we weren't.
what page were you
What
on?
page were
Yeah,
you
what
on?
page were you
Well,
on?
just like how, like, I've been writing a lot the last, like, 2 years especially, and really, like, digging deep and really just, like, okay, the kind of, like, where we're at now with, like, the visual and the sound and all of that, I already knew that was what was going to happen. This is what I was trying to tell you guys that you didn't
Well,
know.
you didn't tell me.
I did tell you, but
In
you
a
didn't
way
know what
that
I was
I knew
saying,
what you were
which is
saying.
fine. I'm just
Had to
saying,
take a
like,
journey.
It wasn't their time
I
yet.
couldn't convey what I was seeing or hearing in a way that made sense to you guys, but I knew what it was, and this is what it was, but I didn't realize that what I was saying when you guys were like, oh yeah, wasn't exactly what I actually meant.
Are you talking about more with the content, or more like of the songs, or more about the production, or both?
Just all of it.
all of it. Okay. Just
Because I
wondering.
felt like I don't know. I just
already
felt like
said
I
that?
had this vision, and I was like, okay, we're all on the same page, and like we'd all been on the same journey as me, but we weren't.
Yeah.
And then also like my kind of idea, like figure out what that actually looked like as all of us writing, and like I don't know, like it was interesting. Well, I don't know if I should go into everything yet. If that's
Yeah,
a
we'll get
different
into a
question.
sec. Where were you?
Okay.
I feel like I was somewhat daunted because is that the correct term?
Yeah, daunted. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I my brain's
Right?
a little off
That's a
center.
word.
Yeah.
Daunted.
No, I
We
know
get
it's a
the vibe.
word,
I was
but
thinking
I
of
was like, I don't know if
dauntless.
that's the right phrasing of it. Whatever. It was daunting because I hadn't done a lot of like writing to like share with the class.
Yeah.
And also it's like when you're trying to share with the class, it's like A, it's vulnerable, but B, you're not necessarily just writing for yourself, even though you are. It's like you write something, but you also want to write something that you think that the class will like and or connect to.
Yeah.
And that's like a different,
class.
a little bit different of a vibe.
Yeah.
Even though it's not, it just is. And also like I've learned my writing, it like transformed and changed a lot because it's so interesting. Like it struck me so deeply, which is I think this is a thing that I think is it like it makes sense when I'm one sec. Okay. Basically, things sound different written versus spoken versus sung.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's one thing to write something, and then it's one thing to read, and it's another thing to write something to speak, and it's
Yeah.
another thing to write something to sing. Like it's all very different. So
That's
I
so
had
true.
a lot of like I would write things, and I'd be like, these are such good words, but like
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not sure that they're like singing words.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like we had this one line that was like, we like drive all night to Minnesota, and then I realized that was the wrong state, and that's a whole other story. And then we were like, it was Iowa, but then we're like, drive all night to Iowa. It didn't fit. And then it was like, California. That actually makes just as much sense in the context.
Even more sense. 'Cause,
More
like,
sense.
It's just a random. It's
And
just a random
sings
example
better,
of
yeah.
some. Yeah, it sings differently. Whereas like if that was a poem, I probably would have just switched it to Iowa and kept it.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Yeah.
But just like the way that you phrase things.
Yeah, and what you
stuff.
emphasis on the right syllable, as they say.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so cringe. Yeah. I feel like I don't know if they said that in our English class or something. The emphasis on the right syllable.
Okay,
Anyway.
so then I'll say, I feel like I already said basically how it was. So then we kind of had to break out of the rustiness. So, okay, I realized I was like frozen, and I started therapy again around the same time, so that was really
It's
good.
weird because I feel like it coincided
Yeah.
with your therapy
so
without even
weird.
realizing it.
Yeah, it was so weird. 'Cause then I'd be in therapy talking one thing, and then I would bring it into our writing session. Then we like write about that. So I realized I was kind of like frozen. I realized the last few years, I don't know how long actually, my emotions, my ability to articulate emotions, it was never that good. But I feel like it got worse in some ways. So I felt like I couldn't access. It was really weird. I would try to write lyrics about something and I literally couldn't. Besides being like, I feel like blah, blah, blah. And then I was like trying to think of different ways to say something. I couldn't think of anything. And I didn't write that many lyrics through this entire time. I did a lot more like producing and doing melodies and chords and all that. And then lyrics here and there. But I didn't do like majority of lyrics. I just felt like I was so dried up. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know. And I'm still working on that right now. Through therapy, I'm like expressing more and more and more and more, but I was like frozen.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think you're dried up. I think you're frozen.
Yeah.
I think you have so much beneath the surface. It needs to thaw out and melt. It's like it's not that it's not there. I feel like dried up sounds like you don't have anything to say, but I think you have a lot to say.
Yeah, there's
It's just
definitely a
beneath-
lot
it's
in
beneath
there,
the surface.
but it's like not coming out. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm working on, especially like in therapy. It's like I'm frozen up, like I just can't even access it. So that's
it's
kinda
gonna
creepy,
be.
but
It's like in Frozen when the fjord breaks and the water just rushes
oh
in.
my gosh.
That's what it's going to be, I swear. Also, I have to say one side note because you mentioned therapy. I don't know if I told you this. I mentioned one of Lauren's lyrics in therapy because I was processing some of my birth trauma. And I started crying and I was like,
it's like there's all this
I was like,
pressure,
no,
so
I said,
pressure.
no. I was like, it's like this lyric that my sister wrote. I told her that we were writing an album. And I was like, this lyric that my sister wrote keeps coming in my head. That was like, how could you when your body shut down? Like, that makes me want to cry thinking about it. But I'm like, that was such a powerful,
Let it all out.
like song
Thank
lyric,
you.
and just puts words to something that's so relatable in different scenarios, and like
That makes my throat close up every time I hear
Oh,
it.
does.
it's so good.
Speaking to the shame.
Because it deeply
Yeah.
just that's been
gets
such an interesting part of the journey, is like the types of things we're writing about and the ways that we're writing about things. It's very like unexpected in a lot of ways from us, because it's like just very different than a lot of things that we've done before, but also like
Makes
it's
sense,
so
yeah.
like it makes complete sense at the same time.
Well, yeah, and we're all sisters. We're all from the same family. Obviously, we have our own experiences and we're different people, but we have the same roots. And I wonder, even with you kind of being frozen sometimes, like, do you feel like you're relating to a lot of the songs just because they're these universal experiences? Even if you didn't necessarily think of that lyric, it's almost like we're kind of sharing, like, because a lot of the topics, we were all sharing all these different aspects of it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I thought that and you put words to it, or like you thought that, and I feel like it's a very shared process.
We started going back to our time in LA and all of the really amazing and sometimes not as amazing songwriters that we worked with, like some really amazing songwriters in LA, and what the sessions were like. We talked about that a lot. We're like, remember we would do this and this and this. And then we stumbled upon something that we used to do in some of the sessions, but it wasn't us doing it. And then we started doing this, which was in some of the sessions, the producer would make a track while we were writing. Like that was how Million Bucks happened, for instance. So I was like, wait a minute, maybe we should try that. So Lauren was out that day sick, and we were like
Taking a nap.
And I had just been in therapy that week talking about a lot of stuff, and we were talking about how we want to write about like, I don't exactly know how to describe it.
It's like childhood.
Like nostalgia and stress.
Well,
In a way.
I was thinking of the family line of different things that happened to your ancestors, whatever, and how it impacts you, basically.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'll make a track that like feels like that while you guys write some lyrics. And then Kat's like, I'm the daughter of my mother's mother, whatever.
Well,
I was like throwing out
I was
random
sitting
lines.
there and I feel like I caught this thread in the air. Sorry if I sound like an insane person to you. I feel like I caught this thread and I was like,
You did,
the
girl.
daughter of my mother's mother. Is that weird?
She was saying random stuff. I was like, oh, that's good. And I was just
then
typing them off.
If you knew me then.
I was typing up everything that she was saying in this
everything
note.
has changed, but
and then
I'm
recording?
the same. Pulling the threads. Yeah, that's what it was.
So I'm just like sitting there recording, then they're catching a vibe of like what I'm recording, but then they're also throwing out lines, which I was typing up, like what went with it. I'm good at piecing together lyrics. If I can't write them, I'm really good at piecing them together. So they were throwing a bunch of stuff, and I was piecing it together, and then I was like, okay, here's a melody, na, 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 whatever, and then recording the melody, blah, blah, all that. So we like through that song. I was like, wait, this is kind of
It was so
cool.
good.
This is like really different. Let me show it to Lauren.
And I loved it. And you know what was funny is that you guys wrote that without me. Mostly I ended up writing some of the verses, but a lot of using your lyrics, CBH. But
you wrote
multiple
most of the second verse,
people,
I think. Right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
But multiple people said, like, when I sent it to them, or people like, I think when we played on Patreon, like, people were like, oh, you totally wrote that line, right? And I was like, no, it was one of you. Or like, oh, that chorus, like, you wrote that. That's such a Lauren chorus. I'm like, no, it's Christina. So it's interesting how, like you were saying how, like, you would think something and I would write it, or I would think something, you write it. Like, it's still like, it's like my voice was still in it because we were like, that sounds like you. And I'm like, it does sound like me, but it's not.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
That's so
funny.
interesting. Well, and also we had been writing with you many times leading up to that. So it's like, I think we were all kind of in the same groove. Like, same vibe.
Yeah.
You were there in
funny.
spirit. But yeah, it's so interesting. I don't know. This might be unrelated. Sorry if I'm going on a tangent, but like, I was at my in-laws' house yesterday, and I was just thinking about how like these. Sorry, guys, such a random tangent, but like old things can remind you of like an experience. I started getting really emotional thinking about my grandma's house. There was like a skeleton key, and then there were like these older outlet covers, and there's like a window in the kitchen.
I can see the outlet covers.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
yes. And you
yeah.
can feel that feeling in the morning of like the coldness on the floor.
The first thing I think of is the doorknobs. That's the first thing I think of.
I just share that. I don't know if that will make sense, but like I think that feeling is sort of been a big part of this process, is like remembering and like honoring like these memories that are really important that maybe people would overlook, but it's actually really important to you and like your story and what makes you who you are.
Yeah, and I think
Side note.
yes, I think the biggest like the thing of this music and this writing experience is like honoring where you've been and what you've been through, and also like taking that and moving forward through it at the same time.
Like healing.
Healing ended up being like a big theme of the whole thing, even though not every song is necessarily serious or whatever, but a lot of them are.
Yeah.
Not all of them. And how many songs did we end up with? Well, not full finished songs, but like substantial parts of songs, like
22
22.
that we had written on the whiteboard.
I thought
And
it was
I
more
want to
than that.
say we
Might have been more, but
it might be more. than that. It actually probably is more than that. It's probably like 30.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some we didn't write
Yeah,
on
I
the
was
whiteboard.
gonna say, I
yeah.
thought it was more like 30.
Yeah, it could be 30
There was also
plus.
like snippets we were sending, like voice memos
Yeah.
and lyrics and stuff.
I want to say one song we wrote was "It's Not Your Fault."
Oh.
When I was thinking, what were we saying? This was like almost like a follow up to
Oh my gosh.
one of the songs. It was almost like
Oh,
the next
I was
one.
saying "Forgive Yourself One More Time" is kind of a follow up
Oh
of
my
"It's Not Your
No,
Fault."
no, that yes, but I was thinking "It's Not Your Fault" is kind of goes after one of them, like Skin. What was I thinking? Kind of
Could it
Skin,
have?
kind of like an
I don't know.
kind of like an offshoot of Skin in a way, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of. So how did that come about? That was another one where I was making a track.
Yeah, that was, and okay, that's interesting because I feel like what's been difficult for me, well, what was difficult for me in this was figuring out what, like, to write as a group versus what is something I need to write by myself versus what's something that's just, it's a song for me, it's not for the group. Like, and what, like, our group dynamic was and what, like,
Yeah.
I
We
don't know,
had
like,
it written together like this. I don't know how long.
because what we were writing is way more vulnerable
That
than
was
we've
our
goal.
ever written together before. And that was
Together.
hard for me of like, because it's like certain things, it's like, I don't want to throw out like, here's my trauma in a line. And you're like, I don't really like
We're
that
like, how
line.
about then
And
I
I'm
was
like,
crushed in my soul, blah, blah, blah.
yeah, it's like, not that good. It's
You're
like,
like, no, man.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
So for It's Not Your Fault.
Do you remember? We didn't decide to write about that topic, did we?
No, I know what happened.
Wasn't I just doing a track?
You made a track because you were like, oh, we should write something more like mellow or something. And you were making that and making that chorus. And then I was like, I feel like it's not your fault. And then I
was
wrote.
like, oh, okay. I wasn't like that excited.
Everyone was like,
I was like, hey, someone's
I was not moving. I was not.
And then I wrote that chorus like in my mind to your track and then sang it, and then you guys like, oh, that's good. And then I was like, we all started writing stuff to try to like, okay, where's the verse go? And I kind of realized like, yeah, it's not really a group right for me. I feel like I need to go write the rest of this on my own.
I
So then I
recorded
took
that-
your track.
I
yeah.
recorded the vocals and I was like, wait, this sounds really good in the chorus.
Yeah.
And then you took that and ran with it and turned
Yeah.
it into the finished song.
Because she made this whole like track for the whole song almost.
Yeah, just not the
Just like a
bridge,
demo
right?
track and not the bridge. And then she sent me her whole project. She recorded that chorus and then I like worked off of that and finished writing the lyrics and the melodies.
Then came back in and Lauren's like, okay, trigger warning, whatever. And then she played it and we were like, oh
I
my
literally cried my
gosh.
wasn't a
eyes
dry
out.
I know. I was like, I don't know if I could show this to you guys. I was like, I don't know if it's too much for the group or it's like too personal or too
Because it is triggering,
disturbing.
and
I
we're gonna
don't
have to
know.
say that in our TikToks. This song is triggering, but it is ultimately healing.
Yeah.
But it is a triggering song.
Yeah.
So we were all listening like, but then afterwards we were all like, no, it's not too much.
Oh,
This is
I was-
exactly what
No.
people need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
I
though
feel
it's a lot.
It's definitely heavier, but it's similar to Skin in that you have to be in the right place to listen to it, or else it's just too like. And it's not too much. The song is not too much. It's just you have to be ready
Well,
to receive
yeah.
that.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's really good to receive that. It's very healing.
Yeah.
But it's like it's very like facing yourself in the mirror.
It's almost
Yeah.
like a specific thing, a song for a specific moment on your journey of healing to like be there with you and like take you down to that place, but then also like lift you through it too.
Yeah.
Like it's, yeah.
Yeah, because I wanted to write that topic like it's not your fault, but I felt like, okay, if you just make it like, yay, it's not your fault, don't feel bad, get
That
glad, whatever.
No!
It's like, why would I believe that if I heard that? And so if I want people to actually believe that it's not their fault when they hear this, I need to go into the depths and be like, I know how you feel. I know how this is.
I've been there.
And actually, though, it's not your fault. And so it could be something people could actually maybe like rethink that because like, oh, you actually know. how I
I
feel.
think that's one of the songs I'm the most excited about
Yeah.
because it's genuinely going to make like there's no way it won't make a huge impact
Yeah.
on people who like need to hear it. It's going to impact you and it's going to help you heal if you're in the right place for that. So it might be one of our most powerful, like important songs.
I was
Yes,
gonna
it is.
say it might
I
be the
agree.
most. I don't know.
It literally
is.
is like a voice of like light, like
Yeah.
really like God's voice reaching out to someone who's in a really isolated, shame-filled place and speaking the truth over them, which is like, whoa, that's really powerful.
So I think in
Yeah.
the last few years, we've all had a lot of different things and similar things. We've all shared some things and some things have been individual to us. We've all experienced a lot of pain, loss, difficult things in life, and then things that come with that: shame, grief,
Yeah.
sadness, fear, blah, 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 all those
Anger.
things. And I think all been kind of like frozen in some of those moments where we just didn't really express it to different degrees. Like me, really didn't a lot of it. And then sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. And we all know what it feels like when you're like kind of frozen in all this pain and you like really desperately want to heal from it and you want something to help you come out of it. And you like search your phone for the right song. Like, can something help me express? Especially me having such difficulty, probably the most difficulty out of all of us. I always like intellectualize my feelings so I can like say them, put them into words, but not actually
get you.
feel them and like experience them, which is apparently how you heal is you have to actually feel them. You can't just say them and talk about them, whatever. So like searching for the right song to help you actually feel something and get in touch with it. Oh my gosh, when you actually find the right one, which doesn't always happen, and that's why we end up writing so many songs out of necessity. When you
Yeah.
find the right one,
Yes.
oh my gosh, it can
On
help.
repeat.
It can help. It can heal you.
Yes.
It can
Yeah.
help you so much, and it gives you the words that you needed, that you wish like you had someone to tell you, but maybe you didn't have the right person, or you were
Yeah.
too scared to open up, or you didn't know what to say to someone.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like I think of this metaphor of like there's this deep, dark like lake or something really like deep, and you know it's there, you need to deal with it, but it's like so many songs either drag you out there in the middle and you're just drowning in this sadness and this pain and this grief,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't really, you just kind of are drowning by yourself and you're like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then other songs are like, I don't want to go there. I'm just going to pretend everything's okay,
Yes.
or gloss right over it. It's
Yes.
like these are songs that I feel like it's like weird metaphor. I'm a trained lifeguard. Let me take you by the hand and take you into the depths
Yes.
of this grief, this sorrow that you're feeling. But I'm not going to leave you there. Like there is something on the other side of it. Let's enter into this together. And then you can come out the other side more healed.
Yeah.
Because
And
like we're going through it.
That's
So
what we're going
Here's
through.
me
Yeah.
going through it, and here's how I'm getting through it, or here's how I got through it.
Yeah.
That's true. We talked about that a lot. That's really important to us.
Yes.
There are songs that I think are harmful because they can cause you to almost like re-victimize yourself over
It's like
and over and over.
you're just ruminating
Yeah.
on it.
and ruminate on the negative, which I'm learning a lot about neuroplasticity in the brain and all these
Yes,
other things about
it's so
your nervous system
crazy.
and your thoughts and your brain, all this different stuff. And if you listen to something that's just re-victimizing you and putting you in a negative place of like, yeah, I'm a victim, this is horrible, this happened, this is horrible, this is horrible, 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 on repeat, and that's it. It can be very harmful and damaging for you, like really damaging. And I remember as a depressed teenager, there was some depression songs I would listen to that just brought me into like the dark depths and just like left me
Yeah.
there and had me just like swimming in my depression, just like sitting there and just covering myself in it. And that was it. Didn't help me at all. Didn't heal me in any way. But then there'd be ones where they're trying to be uplifting, but they don't go deep enough. You're like, that doesn't uplift me at all. It doesn't sound like you can relate to me. This doesn't sound genuine. I can't believe this. And then you find people like Reliant K and Switchfoot.
Yeah. Woo.
That I found as a teenager listening to them, that really helped. And then even like Demi Lovato, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really helpful, where she's not just like, oh, in a lot of her like old music, she was singing about this stuff a lot, not just being like, this sucks, I'm in pain. She'd be like, have like a really empowering like angle to it.
Well, and even
And it was really empowering.
yeah.
But it doesn't always have to be that even. It's just like moving through the whole thing.
Yeah,
It's like
like
we don't just get stuck.
Expression versus just like depressing thoughts that don't express anything is a very
Oh,
different experience.
yes, that is, and it's interesting because
Yeah,
music
it's weird.
is such a like coping mechanism, and people don't actually realize it. But it's
Yeah.
like you use music to cope with so many things in your life, either to like avoid things or to just like, or music will take you into things and help you
Yeah.
out. But it's like, I think that's one of the biggest things we've been thinking about this music that we've been making is like helping, like using music as a coping mechanism for the healing
For
journey.
us. And then in turn, you. So we're
Yeah.
actually doing it ourselves.
I remember we were first kind of talking about the songwriting process, and we were talking about like albums and songs that we were like kind of going in that direction. I think we all kind of said, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, the Let It All Out by Reliant K.
Oh, yeah.
was
my
such a
great song.
Yeah, there's this one line
that
that I
song.
feel like sort of sums up what we're talking about. Like, he's like just talking about how you need to like get your feelings out and like express it and move on. And he's like, in the end, he's like, if the burden seems too much to bear, remember the end will justify the pain it took to get us there. And I
So
think
good.
that's like kind of our
That's so
message with this.
poetic. Wow.
Basically, they all had to drag me through the mud, whatever, because I just want to write poppy relationship songs. I don't know what was wrong with me. That's all I wanted to do. Actually, I know what was wrong with me. I was trying to avoid my feelings. That was
Okay, but also you're good
Also,
at
you're
that. It's
really
not a
gifted
bad
at
That's my
writing
favorite
pop
thing to do.
relationship
Yeah.
songs.
But it's just not.
It's just not the only thing you have to
My
offer.
eyes were
you have
open.
depth.
My
Yeah.
eyes were very open the last few weeks of listening to a lot of different songs and writing new things, and it changed. Like, this was not natural for me, so it changed a lot. So let's say like some things we wrote about. One, I didn't. Okay, a couple things I wrote about that I still haven't finished yet. I'm working on a song about my miscarriage and a song about
That's
postpartum
gonna
depression.
be so healing.
Hopefully, I don't know if it is so far.
see.
We'll see.
We'll
We'll
see.
see. Okay.
But just for people to relate and identify with,
Yeah.
feeling like you're not alone.
yeah, I went and listened to some other songs about miscarriage. There's only one. Oh, the Halsey one.
I love that,
That
song.
is
I haven't heard
really
that one.
good. And then the other song, it's not about miscarriage, that I listened to a miscarriage was I had all the most. What is it?
Oh,
Then I
All,
Holy
and
Man.
then most of you, some, and now none of you. That
Oh my
is
gosh.
perfect for miscarriage because it's about grief.
Now
loss.
I'm gonna cry. Oh,
That
that's
was
so sad.
perfect for miscarriage. I listened to a bunch of other miscarriage songs and they did not hit at all. The Halsey one is really good. Anyway, what else did we write about?
Why am I crying?
It's okay.
That song is
I wrote something about shame.
Oof.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
that one
about-
was deep.
Yeah, we need to finish that though.
Oh,
you guys are like, you could go
motherhood?
deeper in the bridge. It's like, okay.
Yeah, well, we had our
Something
song
about motherhood?
we did our song
Falling short?
Myself Again, where it was like
Oh,
we
that-
talked about losing your identity in different ways and then kind of
Yeah.
coming back to who you are. Which I feel like there was multiple facets that went into that song, but yeah, motherhood and then depression, postpartum, like different things.
Something we haven't written about or haven't quite hit it yet that we really want to write about is like resilience and
Yes.
being kicked on the
Yes.
ground and stepped on and kicked again and stepped on and kicked again and then realizing, all right, I'm done with this and getting up. That's been our experience the last few years that we have been so resilient and we have really
No, for
like
real.
pulled ourselves out of the ditch and been like, get up, lady. Dust it up. We gotta
Honestly,
get
I'm
up.
so proud of us for that.
And we
'cause that's
haven't-
intense.
We haven't gotten the right song for that yet.
Yeah.
We need a song that really hits the nail on the head, but that's the thing we really want to write because that's been a universal theme for all of us. And I think actually for everyone in the last few years has experienced that as well.
Yeah.
What else do we write about? Things we don't talk about.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how that is going to turn out.
I
It'll be
love
good.
it.
The
will
the
turn out
style is
good.
not right yet. If Lauren can figure out the style of this,
It's like a satire kind of song.
it
Yes,
is.
it
It's like
is.
sad. It's so weird.
Like
Yeah,
sarcastic.
I wrote a lot of it. Okay.
Okay, we
I'm
did
proud
a
of
song called
myself.
Things We Don't Talk About, and it's like, it says a bunch of dark things they don't talk about, but in like a pleasant way.
yeah.
The
That's why it's
melody
like
and the chords are very like pleasant.
It's kind of a roast.
It's very different.
It's like a roast of people that don't say anything about anything. Like, yep, that's
Like
great.
the 1950s housewife thing, kind of.
Yes, yes.
That's kind of the vibe. It's kind of weird.
It's kind of like, yeah, the
But it's
vibe
cool.
is kind of like the music video look of Sad Girls Club. Not Sad Girls Club, the song, but
Yeah.
the music video. It's kind
That's
of
like
that
the vibe. It's got to give you that.
Yeah, it's, I'm very
We
proud
wrote,
of it.
we wrote about grief,
Yes.
losing someone, grief. What else did we write about?
We've written so many things.
You know, I wrote a love song.
You
it's like a
did.
wedding song. I was like manifesting, you know.
It was really
Manifesting.
good.
I wrote half of it. I need to finish it. Actually, I think it'd be easy to finish.
Yeah,
really
I think
good.
another theme that we have is like family. It's
Yeah.
like family meaning like us as sisters, but also like family of origin, like our family, our immediate family, our individual families, like husbands and kids. Like there's different facets,
Yeah.
but I feel like family, as in all of its messy, complicated facets, that's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird theme of this is what we were saying earlier that I keep thinking about is like Iowa and Pennsylvania, aka
Yes.
like where our mom's side and our dad's side are from. I keep thinking about that a lot. Iowa and Pennsylvania, out in the country in both places.
Yeah.
Thinking about that a lot, like you said.
Yeah.
Places of origin.
It's kind of
in
interesting
America.
that that's where our bloodlines came from, and we kind of ended up in the middle of those two places.
I have
If you think about it.
And a song called Tennessee. That's kind of like how we
Yes.
ended up here.
That song is so good.
I have to say, I was misplacing Iowa on the map in my head for a very long time.
I
just
don't
figured
think
that
I
out.
could tell you where it is, TBH.
I used to be so good with all the states and everything. I don't know what happened.
I
to
know
me.
general vicinity, but I don't know
I
which
thought it was.
state.
What was?
The children
Like
are.
dishes.
The inmates
I thought it
may
was
be
near
running
Colorado.
the asylum.
I thought our grandfather
Wow.
was born in Minnesota, but I was wrong. It was
We just have family
Right
in
next to
border.
Minnesota.
It was on the border.
Okay. Anyway, last song we'll say. So we wrote a song that we keep teasing, or will keep teasing, depending when you watch this, on TikTok. A song called "Seasonal Depression."
Oh, this one is so good.
And basically, we didn't even finish it yet, but I was like driving, and then I thought of the idea. Like, is it just my seasonal depression, or do I miss you, basically, type of thing?
Yeah.
And then
Christina was like, I have a concept. Like, we should write a breakup song called Seasonal Depression. And I was like, ooh, say less. So then I started writing a bunch of random words.
sent me some lyrics. I was like, oh, got it. And then I just sat and
Yes.
recorded it, brought it in, and then everyone liked it.
And then we bullied
And we
her
wrote
into
together.
sending us the demo that night.
oh yeah, oh my gosh.
We bullied her because we were like, if you don't send it, like
They bullied
she
me into
sends-
recording at 8 p.m. to finish this
because
demo.
she literally will keep a demo captive for years.
Until
Yeah.
I
Not
get it
years,
to a
but,
good
like-
place. I don't want to send it when it sounds like
Yes, which
trash.
I understand for sure. But like, we don't really care what it sounds like.
But Amy wrote the iconic line on it. I hope today your football team will lose so you can be as disappointed as I am in you.
Oh, it's so
Got
good.
him.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And I
will
think
say.
of it, think of that line many, many times because it is indeed football season and his team is not indeed losing that often, but they are losing sometimes.
Yikes.
So that's good.
So that is one. That's like the most fun song so far.
Oh, it's
That's
so
the
fun.
Most, like,
Lighthearted,
fun
more
pop, kind of like
funny.
sassy breakup.
It is
kind
really
of
good,
vibe.
I will say.
It's really
It
good.
definitely hits.
But you know what? Not every song can be you're reflecting on your roots. It's like
Yeah.
life is multifaceted.
Yes,
you need
life
different-
is, yes.
Yeah.
That's
It's-
the thing I was worried about. I was like, how do these fit together? Like, how do all these things we're writing fit together and on the album? But we kind of realized it's okay. Like, that's what life
It's kind of
is.
just
Yeah.
like, the female experience, which
Yes.
men can relate to a lot of it too, but it really is like the female experience of
Yeah.
this album.
You know what? Even Switchfoot had some lighthearted songs. Like Gone, like Frank Sinatra.
Well, that was
No.
still a deep message.
Still deep. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. That was still deep. But they did it in a lighthearted way.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so that's that. Shall we go to our 5 povs?
Yes, ma'am.
Our 5 povs are brought to you by Taylor on Patreon. What's an activity or a hobby you've never tried, but you want to? Like
Oh.
skydiving. That's not an activity. Scuba
That's an
diving,
activity.
bungee jumping, surfing. All she did was name.
How are those? Those
Extreme
aren't
sports?
hobbies.
Yeah.
But those are activities.
Okay, I know
Okay.
one already.
When you've never tried but want to.
Doing stained glass art.
Yes.
I see it on TikTok and
Oh,
like this could be me, but I'm not gonna go get all this equipment to do that. No.
You know what? Okay.
Maybe you will one day.
One day, maybe.
Kind of in what you're saying, but also bungee jumping.
No.
As a mom, I can't do that anymore. As not a mom, I would do that. It's not okay.
Ugh,
it's
sounds
not
so
the jumping part.
painful.
It's like are we sure everything's
catch.
No, I'm just saying, are we sure
Like,
everything's set
oh.
up well?
I feel like
Oh,
that would
yeah.
just not be well
But
for
I'm
your
not doing that as a
body.
mom. No. Okay, from what you're saying, painting with like that really thick paint.
Ooh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
People always make like their own artwork for like their living room with that really thick, like textured paint.
Like
Like
acrylic.
like
or-
concrete.
No,
I don't
it's
know
not
I
acrylic.
don't know what
It's,
the heck it is.
Where it's like textured.
where you
Yeah.
like it's like sticking up off
Yeah.
Like,
yes, it's.
I don't know what it's called, but
Yeah.
that's something that I don't know if I will ever do.
You
but-
should. You and Nick should do it. Be like
Yeah.
a couple's
He does
activity.
not want to do that.
That would be fun. He's artistic
my
in his soul,
gosh.
probably.
He does not want to do that.
No, maybe he would.
TBH,
Though.
he'd probably better than me at it, but
He would be so good at it
So
because
he
he's
doesn't
very.
want to do it.
but he doesn't want to.
You don't want
I
to show
lose.
up.
No, I don't think he wants to. I think it would be
Listen,
fun
you never know.
to
unless
paint
you
one of
ask.
those ones where people do like a bunch of different colors and they like layer them on top of each other.
Yes. Those are so cool.
But it'd be more like neutrals.
Yeah.
Like your sweater.
yeah,
But
no,
not
that would be
gray. I'm
really
getting
cool.
rid of gray in my house because all I did was gray, and then I realized that's not really in my color palette. It is, but not really.
No, I feel you.
I realized I need to lean more warm.
I used to have a cool toned bathroom, and now I have a warm toned bathroom, and I look way more ugly in my warm toned bathroom.
Oh my gosh, I always wondered why. Oh my gosh, in our old house, we had a yellow bathroom. That wasn't that yellow, it was yellow, and we had a blue bathroom. And every time I go in the blue bathroom, I go, why do I always look butt ugly in the blue bathroom?
Exactly.
It's the lighting.
And I would think that as a teenager, I always be like, what is wrong in here?
Yes, I had
Because
this,
it was
like,
the cool tone
white
room.
walls, gray, like marbly bathroom, and now I have like yellowish, brownish, like
what I
all
need.
these like. It's not
Okay, what's
right.
your guys' answers?
I would say April 25th. No, either A, like embroidery, like making
Too
cool
boring.
designs, or like something fun like knitting would be cool.
Oh, embroidery is so doable.
I feel like there's not a ton of like crafts that I want to try that I don't try because I'm pretty crafty.
You
gal.
should do embroidery.
or like painting, like a giant painting.
But what do you do with those things?
You embroider? No, on clothing is what I mean.
Oh, that would
Like,
be
on
so
jeans
useful.
and,
then
like-
you can make any clothing
Yeah,
way more
Betsy and I
interesting.
were talking about it.
Doing like flowers.
Yeah,
and,
you
like,
sew on flowers. People embroider shoes.
That would be so.
They embroider hats. They
Oh my
embroider
gosh, that would be
jackets.
so good.
Like,
Yeah.
that would
those
be
are
really
so
cool.
cute.
So
A little pocket. On
also,
a
I
shirt.
feel like I could just see myself knitting while watching a Hallmark. I could
I
just
mean,
see
you
it.
would so knit. It's
Like
so fun.
making
You should
a
do it.
little thing.
Yeah.
Oh, but I think if I knitted, I would knit like stuffed animals. Like, you know that?
okay, let's
yeah.
move on, guys. We gotta.
Okay, sorry, people.
Let's move on.
Honestly, I'm having a hard time because I literally try almost anything. I've tried so many different like craft type hobbies, like knitting, scrapbooking. Like I've tried a lot of different
something
like
sporty.
I've tried a lot of different active
Triathlon.
hobbies. Well, yeah, I am trying that.
Yeah,
soon.
that's what you say.
But
You've never done.
the problem
you
is
want to?
most of the active ones I don't try if there's something that has to do with my fear of heights. The first thing that comes to mind, and I do have a reason why I haven't tried this, which is that I'm scared that I would get hurt. But I really would love to try surfing. Even though I just keep
yeah,
thinking that I
yeah.
would slip and fall and hit my head with the board.
The sharks, it's just
No,
a no.
you'll be fine.
It's a
Okay,
no
but
for
the
me.
sharks are so rare.
You put like
I'm not gonna go that far.
That's why they put the wax on their board to like make it so they don't
Yeah, you
fall
won't
or
slip.
something.
yeah,
it's like
I
a
just
grip
want to try.
thing.
I watched
It's
this-
honestly just hard to stand up on the board. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
strength.
I know. I'd have to rebuild my strength, which is something I'm doing anyway. But yeah, I watched this
And
documentary
we
about all
don't
these
live near
girl
the ocean,
surfers,
so.
and I was like,
Oh, that's so
I love
cool.
Hawaii. Hawaii's like one of my favorite places.
I
would
want
love
to live by the ocean.
I'd love to surf in Hawaii.
Go back and then take lessons there.
Yes.
Like do a surf lesson.
no.
I should.
Why?
The sharks don't do that.
Do
Okay,
you know
so
how
don't
many
even go
thousands
in
of
the
people
ocean
surf
then.
every day? How many millions of people probably surf every day
Yeah,
and
and
never get bit by a
people-
shark?
Yeah, but if
Bethany
you're
Hamilton get their arm cut off,
you're the
and they're
one-
okay.
It's so rare.
if you're the one person,
Okay, is
was
that
it
how you
really
live
worth
your
it?
whole life, though?
No.
No, is that
No.
gonna live forever? No.
if I'm meant to die from a shark, that's
You're way
No,
more
that
likely to
is
die driving your
kinda cool.
car.
That
You know,
sounds like
way more likely.
one of the worst ways to die.
okay. Yeah, it does sound.
Well,
It does
you'd
sound
be
pretty
dead
bad.
and then it'd be over.
I just
think
think
die to live
it
life.
doesn't sound like that.
It depends.
How long are you going to be laying there?
I don't know, but it sounds
Days
horrible
Probably
to
drown
know.
pretty quick.
Yeah, dying in the water, that's a no for me. No. Okay, let's go to Lisa's. I'm just saying that's such a bad
I
idea.
feel like Melody's gonna watch this and be like, "Girls, what?"
Hello to you lovely ladies.
What?
An activity I've never tried but want to. See, I used to say skydiving, and I think that ship has sailed. Like, I have too much to live for. I'm not going to do that.
Great.
But you know what is a similar one that might be just as dangerous, but I actually still would do it, is riding in a hot air balloon.
Yes.
I would really like to do that. as far as ocean activities like scuba diving and such, I think that ship has sailed too. I'm so scared of all the creatures in there now. So
No.
I would have to say a hot air balloon ride is on my bucket list for show.
Okay, so let's move on to Sister Spotlight, where each week a different girl has a spotlight on her. We have Get Real with Christina, Sappy Sassy Thoughts with Kath, Lisa's Corner, Amy's Rants and Raves, and Lauren's Take. And this week, the sister is ding! Me!
Christina! Hey, girl, hey.
All right, we're just going to do short and sweet.
Tell 'em,
Who
girl.
always says that? You? Someone's like, we're just going to do a short and sweet.
Probably.
I think Kath. Yeah.
Which I never do, so we'll
day.
see. You know when you hear a message and you're like, cliche, whatever, but then suddenly it hits you just right and you're like, oh my gosh, I get it now. That actually really is amazing or important or whatever, and then it just hits you right. That's what I'm trying to do here today, but I don't know if I can do it. Okay, so this is what I'm going to say. The joy, or this is what the title is, the joy of not caring what people think. Okay. Everyone always says, don't care what people think, blah, blah, whatever. But it's like, I mean, you don't have to care what no one thinks. But let me explain. So my therapist was saying this a few, I don't know, months, weeks ago. I don't remember when it was. So we're talking about, like, I've been really, as we've been writing and everything, been thinking about like the history of our career and back in the day and all this stuff. And I was thinking about how unfortunate it was that there were so many people like tearing us down, even though we had a lot more supporters. There was still a very sizable amount of people, or enough that it was difficult, who were very rude, very critical, just like, and they were so, it's just weird looking at it now. I'm like, okay, they were so young and they're just being like, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. You're failing because you did this or that. And they convinced me, this is what I'm going to say, why you shouldn't believe everything everyone tells you about yourself. They convinced me that we were failing. And now when I can look back objectively, I'm like, we absolutely were not even close. Like, that was massive success. But I categorize massive success in my mind as failure. That's insane. And why did it happen?
That is insane.
All because I believed what other people, or I cared to even think about what other people were thinking about me. And as my therapist was saying that quote, that's like, what
Those
other
who mind don't matter.
no, what other people think about you is none of your business.
Oh,
I was meditating more on that,
she's like, oh,
That's good.
and I was like,
what other people think of me.
it really isn't my business. Like, I was really thinking about that. And like, a lot of people, especially with our kind of career in the public, a lot of people do have a lot of opinions, and it's irritating because it's like your job watching, most likely your job, like, people don't give you a bunch of opinions on it, a bunch of unsolicited opinions on it, like you just do your job. So it's definitely annoying having that. And starting to realize, like, it's not my business. Even though a lot of people want it to be your business, it's still not your business. So think about it for yourself. Other people's opinions of you. Think about the people that, who matters, okay? The people close to you, right? They know you in real life. The people who really know you, they're going to talk to you about things, blah, blah, blah. And, maybe someone who doesn't know that you that well is like desperately needs to tell you, like, you need to do this. You need to work on that. They desperately need to point out some truth to you. Well, maybe they don't. That's what would be calling codependency or something unhealthy like that, where it's just sometimes you think you have the exact information that you really need to tell someone to save them from whatever. And sometimes it's just not your place. Hate to say it. And people think that a lot with like influencers and stuff too. Like, no, they need to know XYZ. Well, sometimes you don't get to decide. That's what sucks to be you. So just kind of realizing what other people think of me, it's not my business. And I just encourage you to think about that for yourself, about whose opinion in your life you value and where you need to get your information about yourself. Like, hey, how am I doing in my life? Like, you talk to your friend and you're like, I don't know, why would you do that? You'd be like, honestly, how am I doing? No, you wouldn't do that.
You could ask that.
You'd be like,
if
from
you
your
wanted to know.
perspective.
I've
know.
asked that before.
You open up to people. Think about the people who really matter to you, who you really trust, and don't make decisions for the rest of your life based on what just the world, whatever, or what you think people will think of you. That would have stopped us a lot of times.
Yeah.
If we had been like, oh, can't do this, that'll be embarrassing, we wouldn't have done a lot of things. I have to push through that a lot, thinking that would be embarrassing. And then I'm like, well, you know what? That's part of my brand personally. It just is. Being an extrovert, it just is. So I just have to deal with that. And you know, you can have people telling you you're cringy, you're cheesy, or embarrassing, or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you have a reason why you're doing things and it's meaningful to you, it really means something to you, it has a purpose, then you have to just weigh the pros and cons. Embarrassing or not embarrassing and doing something I don't really care about, or embarrassing and doing something really meaningful to me. Got to weigh the pros and cons.
Which one you gonna do?
So I encourage you to try to let go the outside opinions and realize they're not your business. Like, people need to really focus on their own lives. Like, we really need to focus on our own lives. When we're focusing on other people's lives, it's just because we want to ignore our lives very often. So we got to focus on ourselves. If everyone focused on themselves, we'd all just be moving forward at such a great pace, but that's not really what happens. So stop focusing on other people, focus on yourself, realize other people don't need to focus on you, they need to focus on themselves, and let's just move forward with other people's business being kept to themselves. Even if they say it to you, just, it's not my business. It's not my business. Move forward. In the end. All right, thank you guys. Please remember. That does not fit my message at all. Thank you.
I think it does.
That was you moving forward.
Time.
Yeah, you're like, as we go on, bye. Leaving behind.
Yes.
Leave behind the
from their
toxic
opinions.
and take with you the helpful. I don't know, healthy, whatever. Okay. Thank you guys for joining us. Reminder, please join our Patreon if you want all the full episodes. If you want to support us, it means so much to us. Thank you so much. It's linked in the description. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
You've been listening to the Cimorelli podcast. Follow Cimorelli on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. You can also find Cimorelli on Facebook and Instagram.